2025 meeting of the Legislative and Governmental Relations Committee of the Board of Education of Baltimore County. In accordance with Board Policy 8311, the chair of a committee, at their discretion and after consultation with the staff liaison, may convene an in-person committee meeting. Otherwise, all committee meetings will be held electronically. Today's meeting is being held virtually and broadcast through Microsoft Teams. In order to efficiently conduct this meeting, committee members will state their name before speaking. Ms. Seabolt, please call the roll of board members to determine the presence of a quorum of the committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ms. Chike Kalu.
Present.
Thank you. Ms. Dominowski. Ms. Henn. Ms. Lichter.
Present.
Thank you. Ms. Pumphrey.
Present.
Thank you. And Ms. Booker Dwyer.
Present.
Thank you.
Ms. Seabolt, please call the roll of staff members on the Legislative and Governmental Relations Committee participating in today's meeting.
Ms. Charlie Green.
Present.
Thank you. And Mr. Bazemore.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we can advance the slide. And this is our last scheduled meeting of the Legislative and Governmental Relations Committee meeting. And Ms. Chika Kalu, this is your last meeting, as this is your time on the board is quickly coming to a close. So we are we want to make this meeting special just for you.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you so much.
You're well. I mean, it's special in the sense of we'll review some bills. And
No.
that is
That is completely fine. It has been a privilege serving on this board and in this committee.
yeah, we enjoyed having you. Next slide. And I always like to ground us in the purpose and our measures of effectiveness, and they're displayed on the screen now. At our last board meeting, we the full board adopted the legislative priorities in alignment with the goals of the school system. And our committee, we did not recommend any actions for the board to take as a collective board. Individual board members did attend and provided support for certain bills, but as a board with this committee, we did not advance any recommendations this legislative session. Next slide. And so our meeting outcomes for today is to review the final status of key education-related bills. Over the course of our meeting, we went over several different bills, and so we will just go over what are the final status, and we'll engage in discussion around the legislative session outcomes. And so I will call on Mr. Bazemore to take us through the bills. And committee members, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to ask Mr. Bazemore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's always an honor to be here. And I just want to start off by thanking this committee, thanking you in particular for your leadership in Annapolis, the Vice Chair, Christina Pumphrey, our other legislative members, and our student member, Ms. Chike Kalu, who was very instrumental in Annapolis this year. She spent a lot of time down there on the floor, learned a lot, and represented Baltimore County Public Schools greatly. So we're gonna miss you, but you have left your impression on this committee and on our school system. So I just want to thank you personally and professionally. And individual members of the committee. They spoke to their elected officials during the session. Some testified. Our superintendent was in Annapolis this year, quite a bit, along with other superintendents, speaking at committees, and everybody was singing from the same hymnal, the same book, to try to minimize the cuts. There was a real $3 billion budget deficit that was in every room, every conversation. And as you all know, and so we work feverishly all of us. And I want to thank you because your voices were heard to educate our elected officials on some of the unintended consequences of those of the budget bill. And it actually worked. It actually worked where we minimized the negative impact as much as we possibly could during the state, but it took a lot of heavy lifting from all of you, all of us, the superintendents. Mabe was well represented, Madam Chair. You on that committee, you always do well and make sure that we're focused and moving well. Pazam also, I must mention them as well. So it was all hands on deck. But I wanted to go over, these are the bills that we were tracking during the session, and I just want to give a final update on whether they passed or not. And if anybody want to speak about any particular bill, we can. So I'll start off with House Bill 38, the School Construction and Housing, School Zones and Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance Bill, which is, as we all know, is APFO, statewide APFO bill. That did not pass. I think the sentiment was that it preempted local authority, which we understand that because we just went through an APFO bill here locally through the county council. And so that bill uh, made it to committee, but it did not come out of committee. And again, I think it was because most people felt like they don't want to take away local authority when it comes to adequate public facility ordinances. House Bill 68. It was public schools, children suspected of a crime of violence, prohibition on in-person attendance. That bill did not pass either. The sentiment was that if you are a suspect of a crime and you haven't been charged with anything but merely a suspect, um, the sentiment was that that's going a little too far, prohibiting a child from um, attending school in person when they've merely been suspected of a crime and not convicted of anything. So that bill did not pass. HB 68, HB 137, a similar bill. Now this bill says that the children charged, not suspected, but the children charged with a crime of violence, prohibition on in-person attendance. That did not pass. It went to committee, didn't come out of committee. And I think the sentiment was that you're innocent until proven guilty, that even though you may be charged with something, ultimately you may be vindicated and found innocent and, have, you're prohibited from in-school learning. So that did not pass as well. HB 197, Senate Bill 68, the Restorative Practice Bill, Comprehensive Plan, which was sponsored by locally by Delegate Cheryl Pasteur, Senator Ben Brooks, and Senator Murray Washington. That did pass the Restorative Practice Bill. Um, it's optional. It wasn't too prescriptive, and I think that's what got it over the final push. There was that local jurisdictions can opt into this restorative practice um, uh, plan that would be administered by MSDE. So it wasn't mandating anything. So that bill did pass, and again, local jurisdictions can opt in if they want to, or not. Um, HB 200 was a work group to study school bus safety. It was called the Maryland School Bus Safety Act of 2025. That did not pass. I think the sentiment on that one during the testimony um, down in Annapolis was that the locals had developed, each local jurisdiction had developed, safety plans for their school buses and other things, and that they felt it was a little bit prescriptive for this bill to mandate to everyone exactly what they need to be doing as far as safety. So that went to committee, but it did not pass as well. We put this one in here because we know there was interest around this, even though it's a local Anne Arundel County bill. We typically don't do that, but this one, it was about scheduling, and it actually passed. It's HB 226, Senate Bill 569. It gives Anne Arundel County the flexibility with their scheduling. Right now, you have to count days and hours And this bill gave them the flexibility if they chose to go to hours. And so that actually passed. It's a local bill, Anne Arundel County. But
And
sometimes, go ahead, Madam Chair.
Oh, yeah, and Mr. Bazemore, I just wanted to say about this bill, I really do think we should, as a board, watch what Anne Arundel County is doing with their scheduling, to see if in the future this is an option we may want to explore, or just to give more flexibility to those who are crafting that school schedule. Um, Half days are, it's no secret, half days are not my favorite. And so I really do think that we should watch what's happening in Anne Arundel County and see if it's something that Baltimore County may want to explore in the future.
Yes, ma'am. And I was going to echo that as well. And the other jurisdictions in the state too. We're all watching that to see how that works out, and if it looks good, then maybe something we can do here in Baltimore County. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Oh,
this is Ms. Hen.
Yep, go ahead,
mhm.
Ms. Hen.
Thank you. I agree with your thoughts on this, and just wanted to ask Mr. Bazemore if there were any sentiment or discussion around why this was introduced as a local bill versus a statewide bill. It seems like it would be very helpful for other LEAs, and oftentimes bills do evolve after they're introduced. So just curious if that did come up, if you were privy to any such discussions. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And my understanding was that they didn't feel as though statewide that this was the right timing for that. To go statewide, it's a lot harder to get something passed statewide than locally. So I feel like they kept it local, was able to get it across the goal line, but knowing full well that all of us in the other jurisdictions will be kind of monitoring this. And you're right, uh, Chair Hen, that um, if it looks favorable, then it may actually come up next year or the next as a statewide bill. May very well do that. So we'll continue to monitor that one, even though it's not it's a local Anne Arundel County bill.
And Mr. Bazemore, I know that last year they were trying to get it through statewide, and it just didn't have the legs. And
It
so
didn't. That's
yeah, and
correct.
so and so just like you said, it was easier just to do it locally. And hopefully this will be something that will expand statewide, because to limit days and hour to, have this mandate on days and hours really limits some of the innovative things that you could do with a school schedule for students.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um,
Thank you for
uh,
that background, Madam Chair, and for allowing the opportunity. And perhaps at a future committee meeting, we might discuss procedurally if this is something we wanted to pursue or ask a legislator to pursue on our behalf, even a Baltimore County option, to look into sponsorship and how this committee would go about doing that, if we're interested. So thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Ms. Hannah. I like that.
yep, yep. Excellent, excellent. Okay. Well, here's the big bill, the Excellence in Maryland Public Schools Act. That was the budget bill, the governor's budget bill, and as we all know, that passed um, in the legislature. It was tweaked from its original version, and again, there were our superintendent of Baltimore County Public Schools, others, May, Pazam, some of you individually advocated and I think effectively because the final version of the bill um, was less harm done to locals than the original bill in that form. Um, so that passed. That was the talk in every room was the budget, that $3 billion budget deficit. So we did as well as we could. I think we did as well as we could with that one. HB 772 is the career counseling program for middle and high school students, and they wanted to make alterations to it. That bill did not pass. I think folks thought it was a bit prescriptive to the local jurisdictions that was mandating to you funding that would have to be given to the workforce development boards, and and typically if things are too prescriptive for the locals, that's not kind of where we want to be. We want to leave the boards, the duly elected boards and appointed boards to kind of make those type of decisions. So this bill did not pass. It went to committee, but it did not come out of the state legislature this year. It may come back next year, I believe. The anti-bias training, Senate Bill 293, HB 324, is requiring the state of Maryland to develop guidelines for anti-bias training. This was a bill that was brought by the chair of Ways and Means, Chair Atterbury. So, typically when a bill comes down from a chair, it gets given considerable attention. So this bill did pass the anti-bias training for board members. That's required, and MSD will develop the guidelines and administer it. And you'll be definitely hearing about that because Madam Chair just asked before we started when does it take effect, and it's July the 1st, 2025.
Mr. Bazemore, so I know that MSDE is responsible for developing the guidelines for school employees. Does that apply to board members?
I believe it does. Yes, it says providing the training to board members and/or public school employees.
And if a board member doesn't attend the training, there's no consequence.
I think when they develop it, I think that'll be a part of, the development of it, whether there's going to be some consequences or not. I'm not sure about that one.
And if this goes into effect July, and we have board members whose terms may be ending in 2026, does that mean we'll need to get the training in before their term ends? Or are we waiting for the department to develop the training? I just want to make sure we're in compliance.
I'll follow up on that and make sure I'm getting accurate information on that. That's an excellent question. So I'll follow up and get back to you on that one.
And I know that as a board, we had a retreat, or we did equity training,
Mhm.
and it included anti-bias components in it. And I'm wondering, would that count? I mean, I know it's supposed to be the department that develops it, but when I look at this, I believe we covered a lot of this in our training that we did. I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago. And so I wonder if that would count.
And that was a actually question during the debates. I will find out. I don't think they came down on a consensus whether that training would count towards this, or this would be a separate standalone. That was kind of a outstanding question. I think it kind of depends on how MSDE follows up and write the requirements and everything. But yeah, most school boards already have this grafted into your training. But I think the intent of this one was to make it stand alone. And I'll get back to you on those two questions.
And any other questions from board members?
No, but Ms. Booker Dwyer, we actually used Maeve's workbook, I think, for the
Yeah.
training we did. So so if it's going to be using their workbook, then that may add to the merit of, if we used it, then do we need to redo it?
Right. Okay. So I'll look into those 2 points and get that back to our committee as well. Excellent questions. Our next bill was HB 879. This bill passed as well. It was a task force created to improve attendance and reduce chronic absenteeism in school, and the title just speaks for itself. And everyone agrees that chronic absenteeism is an issue, And this task force will study this issue, make recommendations to MSDE. MSDE will provide staff for the task force and oversee the task force, deliberations and things of that sort. So there very well could be recommendations coming out of this task force that impacts us, locally. But this bill definitely passed. The next one is HB 1204. It's actually an elopement bill for public and non-public schools student elopement notice and reporting requirements, called ACES law. And basically, it is requiring school systems when a child student elopes that the parents are notified within 24 hours. That was not a requirement prior to this bill. Same day reporting. And then it also directs the IEP teams to annually go over a record and of elopement and make to review it and make recommendations. So a safety issue, and again, uh, parents will be notified if a child elopes during the school day that day, same day reporting. So that definitely passed.
And just for clarification for the public that's listening, elopement, that is when the student leaves the school. So no one is getting married or doing anything like that. It's when students leave a school, just for those purposes.
Yes, ma'am. And good point. Good point. When they don't have permission to leave and they leave the school, then that's considered elopement. Correct. Senate Bill 656, House Bill 1529, is a local bill to Baltimore County. And this bill, I believe Mr. Rod McMillian and Ms. Julie Henn had brought up as well during our sessions. And we monitor this one very closely because it would direct impact on Baltimore County Board of Education. This bill did not pass. This bill didn't receive the required votes in the Baltimore County Education Committee. You need a certain amount of votes for it to pass. It didn't receive that amount of votes. So I believe they will be revisiting this bill next year. I'm sure of it, because as we know, during the as a referendum, the county council is expanding to 9 council members. Right now, our school board district members who run for election, they run in councilmanic districts, and that's 7. So the state created the hybrid board, and they oversee any changes to it. So what this bill was doing was saying that in the next upcoming election, that even though we're expanding to 9 council members, that the school board members would run in their current districts, the 7 uh, school board members, that those districts would not change. And then moving forward, they would look at whether they were going to expand the school board to 9 to reflect the council districts or not. People had different ideas on how to do it. There was a theme running through these debates where pretty much everyone on both sides of the aisle said they weren't interested in expanding the board per se, because as far as I think we have the largest board of education in the state right now, I believe, but even keeping it the same and somehow tweaking these lines to represent the new election districts. So next year, I was told that there's definitely going to be a bill that comes out, and they're going to debate. One of the debates were to keep the board, have people run in the non-councilmanic districts and reduce the governor's appointments from 4 to 2, therefore keeping the same amount of board members. This bill, the theme behind it was if you don't run it in a particular legislative district or council district, and your actual district touches other districts, then that person who's running would not be parochial. They wouldn't be just making decisions based on the councilmanic district that they're in, but that they would have to take into account the other jurisdictions that they represent. So that was the theme of this, that it would be a better way for board members to conduct business when they have multiple communities and multiple areas that they have to represent. So it was good, healthy debate. Again, this bill will come back next year. This is definitely at the top of the list, which we will monitor because they do have to come up with something. But as it stands now, anyone running in the upcoming election next year would run in those already established councilmanic districts. Hope that made sense. Senate Bill 887, House Bill 1512, statewide bill. Chair Hand also was interested in this bill, and we were following this one as well. And there was mixed comments about this bill. It's a reappointment of an incumbent county superintendent. And basically what this bill was saying was that if a school board felt that they had a superintendent that was doing really well, and at the end of 2 years, instead of waiting until the 4th year at the end of the contract, that they could offer a incumbent superintendent 4 more years before they finish their fourth, their term. The thinking was that it would give boards more flexibility and able to offer a contract earlier if they deem that superintendent worthy of that. But on the other hand, they were saying that things could change. You could offer that and then something changed that last 2 years, but now you've locked yourself into an additional 4 years. So there was healthy debates on both sides about that, the flexibility and whether or not it was good or not. That bill did not pass. And I'm thinking it may be reintroduced next year. But we'll keep an eye on that one too, because that definitely affects school boards from around the state. So that's pretty much it. If anybody had any questions about that bill or any other bills, be glad to answer if we can. Madam Chair, I guess I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is legislative session outcomes. And Mr. Bazemore, could you just give a highlight of what's in the 90-day report for people who may not be aware?
Yeah, the 90-day report is a huge document, I think it's hundreds of pages, that basically goes over all of the bills, all of the financial impacts, everything you need to know about education is in that 90-day report. The legislative services come out with this report at the end of every 90-day session. And again, it's very comprehensive, detailed about the budget, about the bills, their impact, and everything else. And there are hundreds of bills that were filed this session as well. So that's good reading. But again, it's a lot in there, and it's a lot of detail, but it's good reading.
Yes, very good reading. And then when you go to this slide deck in Board Docs and you click on the image, it'll take you to the resource. And their legislative session, when you select that, you'll see all the bills that were tracked and the MABE's position on them. And the MABE's position does not necessarily reflect the position of MABE's legislative committee. So that's one thing to just to be clear about. And you can also see their legislative priorities. And then when you click on the our legislative priorities, it'll take you to that where it's posted as well. And so that is all we have for this meeting. Mr. Bazemore, do you think it's going to be a special session? Should the legislative committee prepare or anything? Do you think there's have you heard any talks of a potential special session?
There was talk about that early on, but it's kind of died down now. I think they got a better handle on the federal impact, the cuts of the federal impact to local jurisdictions, and that was a big driver of if there was going to be a special session. But they just recently had received some updated numbers of that federal impact. So I think it would be very unlikely that they have a special session. But again, if they do, as soon as we hear about it, we'll let the committee know. And typically on the special session, they come in and do one thing, like one specific big thing. It could last one day, it could last 30 days, but it just depends. But when you have a special session, and when the president and the chair, the president of the Senate, chair of the House calls it, it is for a specific thing. However, when the legislators show up, they can do other things if they chose to do that. So, but they typically will follow the lead of the president, Bill Ferguson, and our very own Speaker Adrian Jones. They typically will follow their, that whatever they're supposed to be there for. But I'll keep you posted. But I don't think it doesn't seem like they will. I'll keep you posted though.
Any other questions?
Just one comment, Madam Chair. This is Ms. Nunn.
Yep.
Thank you. I took a glance at the 90-day report. I wanted to share with the committee that it also includes the financials. So in terms of the state aid that we received, I don't have the page number in front of me, but it's easy enough to find with the table of contents. If anyone is interested, you can see the details of that in the 90-day report as well. So good stuff in there.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, and all of that is built right up in the front of the report. So you start off with the budget. So it's a lot of good reading. And if you're into the numbers, they're all there.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, this is Christina Pumphrey. I just wanted to thank Mr. Bazemore for your detailed descriptions today and also for all of your work keeping us up to date regarding legislation throughout the session. And also thank you, Ms. Booker Dwyer, for your leadership throughout the session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Pumphrey.
you. Thank you very much.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Bazemore. Thank you, committee members, for your guidance and keeping us on track with what recommending bills for us to review, and helping to craft our legislative priorities. And thank you, Ms. Seabolt, for helping to put all of this together. You keep us all on track, and Ms. Charlie Green as well, who really helps out with this committee. And so the last item on our agenda is announcements. The Legislative and Governmental Relations Committee meeting, they have concluded for this school year. Committee meetings will resume in the fall of 2025 in preparation for the 2026 legislative session. And we may try to schedule them a little bit earlier because we know that there are some hot topic bills, like Mr. Bazemore said, regarding what the Baltimore County Board of Education will look like in the future. So we will we'll follow that, and we may look to come together a little bit earlier around that. Is there any further business? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you at the school board meeting on May 6th.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Madam
everybody.
Chair.
Bye.
Good
Thank you,
evening,
everyone.
everyone.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Aaron.